Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, all the glamour of talking about our fishery. I know a lot of people may not understand exactly what's going on by all these tournaments. They see these bass boats going down the river and sounds and so forth. And some people don't understand the value of all this or what they're doing. They worry about the resource. Well, let's speak about the resource, the bass resource out in the St. Lawrence River. And as far as the DEC is found in their nettings, that we still have the same populations of these bass in given areas where they net. And they also follow a lot of these fish with tags that they put in them, and they can follow them electronically to see what they're doing. And so they are keeping track of how healthy this population is staying with all this pressure. But what I wanted you all to realize is there's an awful lot that the anglers are doing to trying to protect these fish as well. You know, I've had people ask me, how do these fish even survive being driven around in a bass boat all day? And my answer is that, yeah, it does put a tremendous amount of pressure on when you're bringing fish 80 miles away to a weigh-in place, and they've suffered all the waves and the pounding of the bass boat. And believe me, there is a pounding. I know you just sit in a bass boat at 60 miles an hour and feel what it does to your back as you hit those bumps, and you realize what it must do to the fish. But in our last tournament, you know, we really scrutinized the bass that were brought in our big bass blowout. Every fish that was given to us after they weighed it in, it became our property, and we would put this fish in a tank and observe what condition it was in. And so often I found that these fish were really still really healthy, and we were able to release them right there at the dock, and they could swim away easily. And the reason being that the anglers were fizzing them out on the water so that they could bring in a live fish. And that was a huge thing, and I thank them for what they had done. They made it so much easier for us. But if those fish were in that tank and they looked like they were going belly up or laying on their side and just looked beat, we would start to fizz them. We had great volunteers that were fizzing the fish, and it's amazing what that does. And people have to realize, too, that in these live wells, the anglers can take a bag of ice and keep that water really cool in their live wells so the fish have a better chance. And they have aeration systems where they can keep that oxygen flow constantly in their live wells. And that, again, helps them to be able to bring the fish in for a safe catch and release. And these are things that the anglers themselves are doing. And I think it's really important that we understand. A lot of us aren't fishermen, and we see these boats going back and forth in the water, and we wonder, how can these bass survive? Well, these anglers are doing everything in their power to make sure that these bass live as the state does, and we all want to. We want this to succeed. We want to have this population live more years to give this sport more people a chance to enjoy it. And I think it's important that we as a public understand what's taking place in our area. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.